finding the supposed skull of Bigfoot, hearing terrifying sounds in the forest, catching the glimpse of a creature climbing under a bridge, or some scary wolf figure seen in the forest. These are just a few of the things we will look at, so stick to the end. We can see a man who was out in a forest looking for different types of mushrooms from that area, but little does he know he is about to encounter something that would terrify him to the bones. For a while, the clip seems normal. He is just wandering the forest looking at different species of mushrooms, until he is forced to move his sight from the mushrooms to something in the forest. He hears some distant scream, but by how it sounds, it does not seem to be of any animal we know. The screaming sounds out of this world. It is the sound of a big, sturdy creature. Immediately after he hears that, he does the best thing one could do.
I think it's time to go.
And whatever that was, living is probably the best thing to do when you hear that terrifying sound. This clip is from the YouTube channel Brave Wilderness, from when they decided to wander in an area where Bigfoot is most often spotted. But for sure, they were not expecting to find a monstrous humanoid skull. Close to the end of their trip, they spotted something bizarre barely sticking from the ground. At first, they thought they found the skull of a bear, but as they were cleaning it and turning it around, they realized it did not look like a bear skull. The teeth and shape made it look like it was the skull of a great ape or a long-lost ancestor of Homo sapiens. It looked too bizarre to be of any animal that would be living in that area, and many people argued this could be the skull of a Bigfoot. But personally, I am not sure. It seems just too convenient that a skull this strange was just barely buried in the dirt, and they happened to find it while out on their quest to find Bigfoot. But what do you think? Do you think this is the skull of Bigfoot, an animal, or something else? This old clip is from Nat Geo TV, and it is footage from Russia of a supposed sighting of Bigfoot. The clip is taken by some kids with their old phones, so the quality is very poor. We can see the kids playing in the snow, but they notice some big footsteps in the snow. Not knowing any better, the kids decide to follow them to see where they lead. But they soon stop next to a forest because they think they spot something moving in the distance. They freeze with the thought it could be a bear, but as they look at the figure for a while, they recognize it is a tall, hairy, humanoid-shaped creature, which also seems to notice them. Once realizing it is spotted, the creature darts away deeper into the forest, which also makes the kids start running back. The kids explained the creature's face was white, and unlike the body, it had no hair on it. So did these kids spot Bigfoot? In this clip we can see some disturbing thing, some sort of dark-haired creature making its way through the forest. But its face looks more dog-like, and to be honest, it does look frightening at first look. People argued online that this creature is a werewolf, but to be honest, I am skeptical. The way it moves, always seeming to have its mouth open to frighten, seems too unrealistic. It looks more like a Halloween costume. So to me, rather than a werewolf, as others suggested, I think this is just a man with a suit trying to give us a fright. What do you think? This is a trail camera that caught some amazing moments. We can see right next to the camera a wolf doing its distinctive howl, supposedly trying to communicate with its pack, perhaps calling them for a hunt. But what amazes me more is the second footage from another trail camera that caught the enormous size of a wolf pack. Just look at this pack making its way down the slope. There are so many of them, around 15 of them I think. And just think about how big wolves are. From what I know, wolf packs can reach up to 30 individuals. So just imagine being so unlucky to having to deal with a pack of that size in a forest. This clip was taken a few years ago in Kiev before the start of the war, but what it caught was really strange. As the person filming looks towards the pedestrian bridge, we can see someone under it, climbing. At first, I was thinking who would be crazy to do such a thing, but if we zoom the camera, we can see they do not really look like a human, and to me, the movement also seems too flawless to be of a human. Just imagine the necessary strength needed to be able to hold onto the bridge, not saying actually being able to go along it with such ease. I know there are people doing parkour who are pretty good with such difficult climbs, but the way it looks and how fast it moves, to me it does not seem natural for a human. So either that is an escaped monkey from the zoo, or there is something more bizarre going on here. What do you think this is? This footage is from the UK of a few boys who were fooling around in a cave, but while they were looking around they spotted a black figure crouched next to a stone pillar. Surprised but also frightened, they took a picture of it and ran backwards. and we can see exactly what they photographed. And at first, they thought it is just some stray dog, because all we can make up is some sort of animal with black fur. Thinking it is funny, they went back with some sort of smoke grenade and tried to mess with it. But as they looked again, it looked clear it was not just some stray dog, but rather some sort of hairy creature slowly making its way towards them. The clip ends suddenly, and we can't really know what happened afterwards. Most likely they began running, if it was real. The creature to me looks like a goat, but the way it climbs that edge looks more human to me, so I am not sure what that is. Is it just some prank by a few kids, or did they catch something more bizarre? In this trail camera footage, we can see an encounter between a cat and a fox. They seem to be squaring each other for an egg in the middle. The fox seeming anxious to get its mouth on it, while the cat, being a good defender of the household, is trying to keep it at bay. From what I know, foxes are usually not scared of cats, and they actually attack them. But this one is reluctant to get any closer to the aggressively hissing cat. What is even more amazing is that the cat also seems to be missing a front leg, and yet still does not back down from this encounter. Maybe this is also the reason she is so aggressive. She knows she does not have the option to outrun the fox. The fox tries to get closer a few more times, but the cat lunges again and again towards it, making the fox run away in the end. This couple was driving at night on an empty road, and all seemed to be fine. But just as they were passing some bushes, they spotted something terrifying hiding in a strange, pale, slender humanoid figure. After they passed it, they decided to turn around to have a second look at what they've just seen. Although the recording is even worse the second time, the first time they spotted the figure, it seems to be fully grey and slender. It did not look natural. To me, it did not look human. It was something resembling more of a skinwalker. So did they record a skinwalker, perhaps stalking for its next prey? This motion detection trail camera caught the unfortunate end of this deer as it was taking its last breaths surrounded by wolves. We can see that the wolves were still looking hesitant, so perhaps the deer still had some fight in it. But by the looks of it, this deer met its end on the spot, because it would have been really hard to get up from that position and be allowed by the wolves to escape. Although unfortunate for the deer, these are the rules of nature. The death of the deer means the survival of the wolf pack. But still, an unfortunate sight caught by this trail camera. This camera spotted an unknown small hairy creature making its way around the backyard. It seems to be walking really fast on two legs, its body being also covered in hair, but seeming to have no arms from the looks of it. To me, rather than frightening, it looks a bit funny seeing this small ball of fur walking on its two little legs. But I'm also curious what exactly this is. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see a compilation of some of the most strange recordings on trail cameras, then watch this video.